In this video, we're going to be graphing a cube root function. So first, let's take a look at the parent function of a cube root. It's this one right here, just the cube root of x. Okay, and let's plot some points to see what this thing looks like. Okay, so if you watch the video on the square root function, you might recall that we could not put negative numbers into a square root because we'd get non-real answers. But that is not the case with cube root functions. We can put negative numbers into a cube root function because it's a cube root instead of a square root. For example, if I said, well, what is the cube root of 8? Well, the cube root of 8 is 2, and the reason for that is because 2 times 2 times 2 equals 8. So the cube root of 8 is 2. Likewise, if we have the cube root of negative 8, that is negative 2, because negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 is equal to negative 8. Okay, so you can take the cube root of negative numbers. That being said, let's plot a few points. First, let's put a 0 in here. We know the cube root of 0 is 0 because 0 times 0 times 0 is still 0. So that is the point, the xy, 0, 0. Let's plot that point. That's right here at the origin, 0, 0. Okay, let's plug in a 1, and let's also do a negative 1. Okay, so the cube root of 1 is 1 because if you multiply 1 by itself 3 times, you get 1. So the cube root of 1 is 1. And the cube root of negative 1 is also negative 1 for the same reason. Okay, so you plug in a negative 1, you get a negative 1 back out. Okay, the next nice cube root, you can't use 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can use 8. Now, you can use all those other ones, except they'll give you decimal answers, which is not really helpful for us when we're trying to graph this thing. So let's use 8 and negative 8. Okay, we already saw what those answers are up here. So the cube root of 8, of course, is 8. So, or excuse me, cube root of 8 is 2, not 8. Okay, so we plug in an 8 and we get a 2. Okay, we plug in a negative 8, and that's negative 2. Okay, so negative 8 gives us negative 2. Okay, now let's plot those 4 points. We've already got the 1 plotted here. So 1, 1 is here. Negative 1 is there. 8, 2 is here. And negative 8, negative 2 is here. Okay, so this graph basically looks like this. Comes in from the side, goes up, and then flattens back out over that way. Okay, so that is the parent function of a cube root function. That's the graph. Okay, so notice we have our ordered pairs down here, the ones we just found. Okay, so now let's try to graph some other ones. Remember, we can shift around because with the plus or minus c, this is going to be shifting left or right, opposite of the sign. And this plus or minus d will be shifting up and down, same as the sign. Okay, for our purposes, we're not going to have an a out front on this video, so we don't have to worry about that. So how we graph these is we start from 0, 0, and we shift it however it needs to be shifted. And then from that point, we move right 1 up 1, right 7 up 1, left 1 down 1, left 7 down 1. Okay, so let's try one here. We've got f of x is equal to the cube root of x plus 1. Since this plus 1 is on the inside of this cube root, then this is going to be a left or right shift opposite of the sign. So since the sign is 1, this is going to shift left 1. Okay, so I plot a point, right? Instead of at 0, 0, I shift it over left 1, and there we go. There's my new point. Okay, and from there, I'll follow these simple directions. I go right 1, up 1. It's right 1, up 1. And then from there, I go right 7, up 1 again. Okay, so that takes care of the first one. And now I go back to the original point, and I go left 1, down 1. And then I go left 7, down 1 again. Okay, so my graph looks like this. Okay, let's take a look at this next one. So we've got this cube root of x and then a minus 5 on the outside. So this is an up and down shift, same as the sign. So this is going to be down 5. We're going to shift that instead of being at 0, 0, we're going to shift it down by 5. There it is. Okay, and then from there we will follow these instructions. We will go right 1, up 1, right 7, up 1. Okay, so that would be, let's see here. And then we'll go back to the original point and we'll go left 1, down 1, and then we will go left 7, and then down 1 again. Okay, so our graph looks like this. Okay, let's look at this one here. So we've got cube root of x minus 3. Okay, so this is going to be, it's inside, so it's going to shift left to right, opposite of the sign. So this will go right 3. Okay, so we go right 3 to put our point. There it is. Okay, and then we follow these directions. We go right 1, up 1, and then right 7, up 1. That's going to put me off the graph over here at 11. That's all right. There we go. And then we go left 1, down 1, left 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, down 1 again. And there is my graph. Okay, and that is graphing cube root functions.